Hello, sorry about our delay today. Welcome to Truly Force Free Animal Training's Ask the Trainer. We were just having some YouTube trouble, and maybe it's our internet. So I just wanted to welcome you guys to this month's Facebook or YouTube Live. And first, before we get started on all the great questions that you have sent, is just to remind you that if you are new and you haven't checked out Truly Force Free Animal Training, you can check it out at trulyforcefree.com. We have tons of material there. There's free material, there's video blogs. There are so many things that you can check out, and there's online courses and webinars. So you can even get continuing education for your webinars. So I hope that this all will be really good information for you. And as always, you are welcome to set messages in the chat, or you can always, during the month, if you think of questions you would like to ask me, email them to us, send them on Instagram, send them on Facebook, and we will answer them. And I have a list to answer today that we've gotten throughout the month. The other thing I want to remind you is, if you have not checked out The Evolution of Dog Training, this is my book that talks about how dog training has evolved over the years, from punishment to positive reinforcement, force-free training. So I am hoping that my goal is to help spread positive force-free dog training and animal training throughout the world, anywhere, anytime, no matter where you are. You don't have to use force if you don't, even if you don't have a trainer in your area. So the other thing I want to announce before we get into the questions is we are starting to do monthly contests that are where if you watch our podcast or watch something that we pick for the month, you watch it and you do a little survey at the end, you can win a gift card for Truly Force Free Animal Training. So last month, we had a podcast with me and Cindy Maurer. She's a physical therapist, and was a human physical therapist for years and is now a dog physical therapist. So we talked about the damage that happens on the neck when we have collars and pinch collars and choke chains. So you can check them. That was the contest for last month. And then we also had you check out my TV appearance. And so then you asked some questions and you could win. So we had two winners. We had Jalen and Harriet were our winners. So they have received gift cards for Truly Force Free Animal Training, so they can check it out for free. So congratulations to you guys. And I really hope that you enjoy your courses that you take. So today, and then this month, we are promoting the podcast with rattlesnake avoidance using positive reinforcement. So if you watch and listen to the podcast, you answer a couple survey questions at the end, and you will be put into a raffle to win a $50 gift card for trulyforcefree.com, which would get you some webinars and some of the courses, or at least give you a discount on some courses. So hopefully you check that out, and at the same time learn a little bit. And so we will be having two different contests. So check that out. You can check it out on Instagram. You can check it out on Facebook, all of our social media. So hopefully I will see your name in the raffle. And so anyway, let's get to some of these questions that I really hope help you guys. And it's funny because a lot of them are about puppies this month. And I kind of wanted to start off with something that I've experienced just in my local business with puppies this month. So some of you may know that I teach a puppy class. I've been teaching puppy classes since 1999. So I've been teaching puppy classes a long time, because back then we had already started to learn the puppies require socialization prior to being finished with their vaccines. So before 16 weeks, they need to be meeting people, dogs. They need to go to new environments. They need to have different sounds. They really need to be socialized. That's when their brain is primed to learn about new things in the environment. And the problem is that a lot of people and veterinarians, just because we used to believe they shouldn't go anywhere until they were vaccinated because of parvo, some of these puppies are not getting the socialization they need. And then at a year to a year and a half to 2 years, they're showing signs of fear, anxiety, and sometimes even aggression. And a lot of times when I'm working with these dogs one on one, it's because they didn't experience these things as a baby. So now they're scary as adults and in different environments. And sometimes it'll end up in bites. So, in order to prevent these bites and these scary situations, is that you need to really socialize them young. And my class, I had a puppy yesterday that was almost 8 weeks old, like 2 days away from being 8 weeks old, came to our puppy class. It's a safe socialization setting. So, it's bleached and, it's no other classes happen before puppy class. So, puppy classes are on Wednesday and it's bleached before they get there. No dogs have been in there. We keep it very clean and sterile. And if the dogs are sick, they're not supposed to come and things like that. But this is really helping these puppies overcome fears as babies. So if you have a puppy, even if somebody tells you, no, don't take them anywhere, really do your research. And you can check out trulyforcefree.com, has a ton of articles, and we have links. And there's things from AVSAB, which is veterinary behaviorists, who are really saying, no, we have to change our mindset about this. And puppies need to meet lots of people and dogs before they're fully vaccinated, but in a safe manner. So it doesn't mean you're going to the dog parks or going to super busy areas. You're just going to places that they can meet them and go slow, because some of them are going to be a little shy, and you want to make sure it's a positive experience. So that is kind of the lowdown of what I wanted to talk about anyway. And then I happened to see the questions for this month. A lot involve puppies. So the first question, there's two questions actually from Sandy Hunsucker. She asked two questions that I wanted to just address here first. So the first question is, what's the best way to introduce a new puppy to other dogs in the home? As a lot of these questions, they're pretty loaded. So I can only briefly talk about it, and there might be some very specifics for your situation. So first of all, it depends on the dogs that are in the home. If the dogs in the home are already very good with other dogs and good with puppies, it might be a very easy thing that you just go slow. Maybe they're both on leash and you let them sniff and it goes really slow. But you get a chance to have them interact in a safe environment. Maybe you put the puppy in a little X pen or a crate so that the big dog, or the new dog, I shouldn't say big dog, but the resident dog can come and sniff the crate and sniff the X pen. That's if your dog, their resident dog, is already really good with other dogs and good with puppies. If your dog is not good with other dogs and other puppies, first you should really consider if bringing a puppy into the home is a good idea. If you have a dog who's very dog reactive, they might become friends, but it also could be a really long battle. So we're going to focus more, because that will take a lot more one-on-one skill if your dog is not good with other dogs and you're introducing a puppy. But if your dog is good with other dogs, it's important also, as you're introducing them, is don't just force them to be friends right away. They might need some gradual introduction time. The older dog may also need a break from the puppy, because puppies can be relentless and they can be a nuisance sometimes. And just like we need breaks from our kids or other people, sometimes your dog might need a break from the puppy. So if you have your puppy crate trained, then you can let the older dog just have free reign of the house or the yard and just let it go slow. What's great is puppies must have sleep. A lot of puppies need 16 to 18 hours of sleep. So if they don't get that sleep, they're going to be cranky. So when they take naps, that gives the older dog an opportunity to have a break from the puppy. And then, just like you would with children, supervise the introductions. Don't just let them have free for all, because if you let them have free for all, then the puppy could learn bad habits. The puppy could irritate the older dog. So really monitor that and keep them safe. You may need to help redirect the puppy. So puppies don't have boundaries necessarily, and they don't know things. So even in my puppy class, when the dogs are all playing, I don't just let them all go play. I stop and I will interact and hold them back. So maybe the puppy's wearing a harness or a collar, and if they're getting to be too much, I'll remove them from the dog that they're harassing. If they're really scared, I might give them a lot of treats while they are interacting with the older dog, or I might be giving the older dog a lot of treats if they're a little bit unsure about the puppy. So it just depends on that. But you just want to go slow, do fun things with them. If they both like to, if the older dog likes to play ball, the puppy can kind of watch if that is a fun activity for them. So involve some play, involve treats, and just go slow. Um, the specifics I would have to get into way more because there's so many more things that you could do, but just going gradual. A lot of times people just jump in and they throw the puppy in with the older dog, and that just doesn't work because the puppy's too much for the older dog. So hopefully that helps a little bit. I know it's just touching the iceberg and there's a lot underneath, but hopefully that gives you the right direction. The next question is, what's the best way to house train your new puppy? And I believe I have talked about this before in Facebook Live, but I'm not 100% sure because I answer so many questions. So I'm just going to give you a quick potty training because it's simple but not easy. So to potty train a puppy successfully, they need to go out and be given the opportunity to go to the appropriate place frequently throughout the day. So for me, I like to say every hour to two, you're taking the puppy out to wherever you want them to go to the bathroom. So that might be in your backyard. It might be on a patio, and then have treats with you. So immediately after they finish eliminating, you give them a treat. So that may mean that you're giving a couple treats. If they go a couple times, it may only be one. But you want to make sure you take them out frequently so they don't have the opportunity to make a mistake and have an accident in the house. The other part that you need to do is you need to confine them when you're not supervising them, because an unconfined puppy is going to not only get into mischief, but might start sniffing around and have an accident in the house. So crate trains or X pens, somehow confinement. You can also tether your puppy to you, which means you like wrap a leash around your waist and then they follow you around. That's another way that you're supervising them. But remember, puppies need a lot of sleep. So it's okay if they're sleeping in their X pen or their crate during all of this. Then you want to also make sure you take them out after they eat, after they play, and after they wake up, because those are common times that puppies need to go to the bathroom. The more often you treat them when they go appropriately, the more they're going to learn to go wherever you want them to go. So confinement is consistency and supervision are all big parts of potty training, as well as making sure you treat every single time. If they have an accident, you need to blame yourself, not your puppy, because it means you either weren't supervising, they weren't confined, or you weren't taking them out frequently enough. So then just rethink your plan and either take them out more, confine them better, or supervise them more. So those are all things that you can do to help your puppy learn to potty train. Some dogs take longer than others, so that's something to remember. It's an individual thing. So some puppies will learn in a week. They'll be potty trained perfectly and never have an accident again. But other puppies take sometimes up to 6 to 8 months. I have had dogs that, are really not 100% reliable until they're a year. Oftentimes, but not always, those are dogs that just didn't have the consistency. So once they learn how to go outside, and if you always use the same exit door so to go, they might even start indicating by running to that door, and then you know that they are starting to learn that they need to go outside. So those are some things as a rule of thumb for crates. If you need to crate your dog for longer than 2 hours, your puppy, it's okay. So for every month they are old, we have kind of a rule of thumb. So if they're 3 months, then they could do 3 hours plus one. So a 3-month-old puppy should be able to stay in their crate for about 4 hours. And as they get older, you can increase an hour. Personally, I don't like to leave my dogs in a crate for longer than 4 hours if I can help it. As adults, sometimes we've had emergencies and they've had to be in there maybe 6 hours, but I don't like to have to make them hold it for that long. But so you can let them, have their crate time and then have their play time. The other thing with potty training that comes up is sometimes people will take their puppy outside and the puppy just wants to play. You want to refrain from playing with the puppy until after they go to the bathroom. Because if you play with them, they get distracted, then they don't go outside, and you bring them back in the house and then they have an accident. So make sure that you keep potty training serious and not very exciting until after they go to the bathroom. Your excitement could actually be another part of the reinforcement for going out there. So I hope that kind of helps give you the gist of it. Sometimes there's more specific problems that come up with potty training. And if that's the case, again, feel free to email us or send a message through one of our social media outlets because, your questions are never stupid. And almost always it's a question that I've answered a million times to other people. So it's just trying to figure out what you guys want to learn about. So the next question comes from Deborah Kossoff. I think that's how it, hopefully I didn't totally butcher that name. And Deborah's question is, how do you introduce the concept of walking on leash to a newly adopted 5-month-old rescue pup who has never walked on leash and is living in a multi-dog home with a 7-year-old Rottie and a 4-year-old Rottie Shepherd mix who do walk on leash? The new pup is fitting in well with the other dogs, but is still all puppy. So I'm super happy, Deborah, that they're all getting along well. That's excellent because that can sometimes be a problem when you have a multi-dog household. So kudos to you that they're already getting along well. And loose leash walking can be a challenge. It's some dogs it's more challenging for than others. So one thing that I like to always mention to people is when you are training any new behavior to any new dog, whether it's an older dog or a younger dog, it's usually best to train them without the other dogs. So what I mean by that is if you're working on sit or down or any of those things, with the puppy, you're going to need to go outside or in a room that the other dogs aren't there. Even as a professional trainer, it's hard to train multiple dogs at the same time. Now, once you have really well-trained dogs, like my dogs, I could say, you stay over there while I work with this dog. But that takes a lot of time and skill. So for most people, you just want to separate them when you're training. And even for me now, if I'm training a brand new skill for one of my dogs, I will put the others in their crate or in another room so that I can focus solely on the dog that I'm training. So then we look at loose leash walking, which is an even harder skill than maybe sit or down. So you want to start doing this separate. And one thing that people don't recognize is you really should start training loose leash walking in your house or backyard before you even try to take them on a walk around the neighborhood. And you might ask, well, why would you do that? Because I just want to take my dog for a walk. Well, it's a skill they have to learn to be next to you, whether that's on your right side or your left side. That's a personal choice. But it's a skill just like any other skill. So if they don't know how to do it and you go and take them out on a walk somewhere, they're going to be very distracted and it's going to be very hard for them to learn. So, and they might be learning bad habits. So they might start sniffing and pulling, and now they're getting reinforced by the sniffing. And so it's going to be harder to teach them how to walk nicely. So if you're walking them, if you want to learn loose leash walking, first thing I say is get them on a harness because the harness is going to protect the neck. So even a flat collar can cause damage to the trachea and the esophagus and all the nerves and the veins that are in the neck. So first get them on a nice, good fitting harness. There's a billion out there now, just depending on your dog breed and comfort level. Get them on a harness so that their neck is protected. Get them used to the harness. So in this, they've never, been walked on a leash. So sometimes just putting the harness on is kind of scary for a puppy or a dog. So you might just put the harness on and let them walk around the house with it on. And maybe they eat their dinner with it on. Maybe you play ball with them on or tug or some other game with them, just so they get used to wearing it, because for some dogs, the feel of it feels awkward. Then once they get used to that, you'll attach your leash and you'll do some walking around. You'll practice in your house first. Again, you're going to have to put those other dogs in another bedroom or a crate or something like that, because they're going to have a harder time focusing if the other dogs are around. The technique of teaching it is going to be more than I can do on a live video here because I have to get up and show you, but I do like to use a clicker. And I do like to use actually cream cheese that comes in a little packet that you would get like at a deli. I get those at in California. I get it at Smart and Final. Box stores oftentimes have them, and that's cream cheese. Or you can get peanut butter that comes in a packet, and then I just cut off the side, and that just makes it so I'm not dropping treats. But by all means, you can use any treat. And what you're essentially going to do is teach them to stay next to you, whichever side, your right or the left. And you're going to click and treat while they're on your side. So they start to learn that that's where the food comes. If you want more details about this, I would check out trulyforcefree.com, the website, and you might look at, I have a good manners course that does talk about this, the foundation course. There's also, a couple little video blogs and things like that that cover this. So the technique, you'll need more time with, but understanding to start this in your house at first. So just going around your coffee table, just go around your dining room. Then you're going to go in your backyard if you have one, or the front yard, and just really try to do it where there's low distractions. Now, every time I'm working with a dog who's learning loose leash walking, and even with my adult dogs who walk really nicely on leash, if I go somewhere new, a new park, a new beach, the first thing I do is I let them sniff the area, because by sniffing everything, they're getting a chance to relax. It's kind of unfair for an animal who's smell is their strongest sense to just say, okay, we're going to go to this beach or park, but I'm not going to let you sniff anything. That's sort of like telling us there's a beautiful sunset over there, but I'm not going to let you look at it. Or there's a beautiful flower, but I'm not going to let you look at it. We want them to enjoy their environment. We want them to take it in. And the way they experience the world the most, they taste, obviously, and they see, is their nose. And so by taking away all their sniffing options, that's just not really fair. However, we also want them to walk, and we need them to sometimes move forward. So every time you go into a new environment, before you start your power walk, let them sniff around. If as you start working on your loose leash walking, say you start to work in your backyard and that goes well because they know that area, then you go to your front yard and you let them sniff your front porch or your front lawn. Maybe you only practice doing loose leash walking in a circle in your front lawn because that's enough. Because going to the neighbor's house is going to be all new smells and all new experiences. Then you go to the maybe one house up on each side of your house. First, just let them sniff the neighbor's grass. Let them sniff everything. Then start working back and forth with loose leash walking, and where you're just going to do your step and click and treat, step and click and treat, and you're just going to walk back and forth, back and forth. At this point, we're not using loose leash walking as a mode of exercise. We are using it so we can teach them how to walk nicely when we do start walking. So sometimes when you have these new dogs that you're working with, you may refrain from actually taking them on a walk for exercise and play ball with them, or you're going to go somewhere where you're going to be expecting them not to be perfect and don't expect them to walk nicely with you all the time. So that's where if you have a dog that pulls and is really uncomfortable, sometimes it's not worth taking them on those walks until they learn the skill. So as a puppy, practice in the house, in the backyard. You can even go to if you have a friend who has a backyard, that's a new environment. Think outside the box about new environments because especially if your dog's not all the way vaccinated, you may not be able to go around the neighborhood, but maybe you can go to a friend's house or a family member's house and let them practice and sniff in that area because that is just as environmentally stimulating. To them, it's new. To us, it's just my, mom and dad's house, or it's my brother's house. But to your dog, it's a whole new place. It might as well be a little mini Disneyland. So remember that when you're walking too, and just really go slow. The other piece that I would say as I kind of finish wrapping this question up is that it's really important to make sure that you have a high value treat, something that they really, really like. So if you go about this and you're using some boring kibble and your dog is way more interested in the grass, it's going to be really hard to train them. So you might need something like chicken, hot dogs. You can use the cream cheese or peanut butter. You may use Right now, cod skin is very popular. All these fish products are coming out, which is great because it gives more options for dogs who have limited diets. But something that's smelly, something that your dog considers a high value, those are all really important things to consider because you want them to be looking up at you and not foraging forward all the time. So, but if you want more detail on how to teach that, like the techniques, check out Truly Force Free's Good Manners course because it has that on there, and that'll give you more detail because you also, having eye contact and having them know how to sit and listen, those things all make your walks a little bit better. But whenever you're training a group of dogs, whether it's you've had 4 dogs for 5 years and you're trying to train them a new trick, you need to sometimes separate the dogs because it's too hard to teach all these dogs new tricks when they're all in your business. And if one makes a mistake and one is good, it gets really confusing. So I hope that I answered all of your questions fairly and fully that you guys have submitted. And once again, I just want to invite you, please send your questions. So you can send them to info@trulyforcefree.com. You can send them through Instagram. You can send them through Facebook. We really do. These are real questions that people submitted. So I really want to be able to answer your questions for you. And don't forget to check out our contest this month because we had over 350 entries last month. And so we're getting more entries. I really want to be able to share this with you. Just watch the or listen to the podcast, watch the video that we have for the month, fill out your Survey Monkey because we really do the raffle. So you can check those things out. That way you can even check out Truly for free if you win a gift card. And there's webinars. If you are a trainer, veterinary staff, we have our webinars do have CEU units, so you can get some credit for watching them. And check it out because I'm doing a lot of webinars. We're doing a lot more information out, getting a lot more information out there. There are some new courses that we are developing right now. So we keep growing. So keep checking us out. And if you like this video, please share it. We want to share this information with as many people as possible. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And we just really want to hear from you. So thank you so much for joining me today for our YouTube live. And again, I hope to hear from you. I hope to get some more questions next month. And the other thing is, don't forget to check out for your summer reading, The Evolution of Dog Training. It is available on Audible and Amazon, and it's in an ebook form too. And something that I like to mention, because as a mom of 3, when we travel and I listen to audiobooks, finding books that are appropriate for my children to hear while I'm hearing them, it is totally children appropriate. So you could be listening to this on a drive with your kids in the back seat, playing on their phones, but you won't have to worry about any inappropriate content. So you can listen to that on your summer driving this summer, or if you're sitting by the beach and you want to learn a little bit more about dog training, check out The Evolution of Dog Training. And once again, please contact us if you have any questions, and I will see you next month.